Welcome back, everyone. You know who I am. You know why I'm here. This is part 32 of JoshCCLP4. This is Let Us Be Superior. Use blocks to add one fireball per corridor to hit a red button. All fireballs are facing north. So this is a pretty neat concept, and when I saw it, I didn't think it would actually play too well. So we'll just direct this fireball straight into its corridor. And then we'll start working on this one over to the right. So I'll put the I think JB's optimized solution did this in just 2 blocks. I'm going to do it in more because I don't want to do anything dumb. Okay, that's kind of unfair. I'm sure his route makes a lot of sense, but I'm sure it also has some slide delay shenanigans or moving blocks while there's a fireball moving. And as it is, no, wait, I can't even ram that there. I was going to ram that, but I can't. Wait, so how am I going to move this fireball over to the right? Maybe this one goes down. Okay, yeah, if that one goes down, that works out better. Oh, that's so silly. So here's what I'm thinking with this fireball. We take it along the same path as the first one, and then we stick a block here and it's taken care of. So this fireball is going to go down, over, boom. So that's 2 fireballs down, 2 to go. And this one seems like a really easy one. Yeah, 1 to go. Where is it? Okay, so it's all the way over here. It'll start out in a loop, but if I deflect it here, I can get it stuck in this trap. Okay, this one shouldn't be too hard either. So I'll just take blocks from here rather than try to move them. Oh wait, no, I don't need to do any push a block off a block things. Ugh. Not really liking the overall layout here. I'm going to take a block from this upper section down there. Just because I don't really like... Can I even do this? I think I can. This is such a long loop. Okay, this takes it up. It'll go into this trap. I release it from this trap. This block comes into play. Goes up here, over here, down there, and into the spot. Okay, so that should be it. Release once. Gets there before I do. Release twice. I think the exit was in this corner. It was. Let Us Be Superior is now complete. So that's 200 levels down. 200 down, 120 to go. So this is Amsterdam Incorporation. I think everybody liked Amsterdam from the original set. It's a pretty great level. I know it was one of my favorites as a kid. It still is one of my favorites just because it's very well designed with the overall layout. And I'm pretty sure a level later in this set does use the walls from Amsterdam. And from what I know, it's a brutally difficult level. So we'll see if I can get that one before, without too much difficulty, but I think it's going to be a sticking point for a little bit. But yeah, Amsterdam was a fantastic level from the original set, just because the move the blocks out of the way through rooms gameplay is really fun. The overall layout of the ice between the areas was... The varied spaces, they're great. It's really hard to pick the things I like about Amsterdam, just because partly because there is so much nostalgia, but also because there's just so many things I like about it as a result of that nostalgia. Similarly, I really liked Spooks, and because it was in the, I think Victims Yeah, Amsterdam 65. So Victim came right after. So as a result, I played Victim a lot. Just because, why not go in order? And I think I'm screwed, actually, because I approached this area from the wrong side. Whoa, whoa, computer, whoa. Um, um. Okay, so my screen went completely white for a sec, and my antivirus program just popped up. And I have no clue what happened to the recording there, but it seems to be fine now. But, that freaked me out. Because my screen suddenly went white, and my antivirus program popped up, and all it was doing was complaining about Discord trying to update. And yeah, I did screw myself, unless I can access there from above, so we'll see if we can't access it from above. I don't mind replaying this, if I did. But I would recommend against having the ability to screw on a level like this. Just because it looks like you're just moving blocks out of the way. But if I'm not screwed, that's a moot point. And it looks like I am screwed. So let's just figure out how this section works. It's probably not too hard. But just want to keep an eye out for any other screws that might come up. And 3 chips left. I see 1, I see 2. I think the third one's also down there. I know how I would have to do that. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Alright, you got me. I'm not a huge fan of the ability to get screwed on this level, just because, as I said, so much of it is you're just moving the blocks out of the way, and there's not many options, so you'd assume they all work. Maybe that's just me. I think that's the first restart I've had in a while, actually. Which is kind of funny, that of all levels, one as straightforward as this is going to be the one that trips me up and makes me restart. Not beautiful struggle, which I'm still happy about first trying. Um, it's like, of all the levels, it's this one. And we'll go to the right first. I don't think it matters which direction I go. And unfortunately, the toughest one is the one farthest from the start. And I want to spend less time doing nothing on the ice slide. So I'm just going to be a little more careful with how I do it this time. And that will be that. Things to talk about, things to talk about. Yeah, I got nothing. I mean, I mentioned that the not CCLP4. I mentioned the CCLP2. Nope, nope, not doing that again, not doing that again. I almost did the exact same screw. Oh, this section is so much more difficult. Like, it's actually kind of ridiculous how much more difficult this section is than the rest of the level. So I'm probably going to be alluding to whatever was most recently uploaded for those LPs, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because we're probably all going to be alluding to each other's playthroughs here. Except we're all getting so far ahead in our recordings. Like, I'm recording this on the 6th. It's if I remember right, not going up until well after that. Like the 14th, I want to say. So it's going to be a lot of quote unquote current events that are no longer current as a result of recording so far ahead. Anyway, level bonuses are over 100k, which is kind of ridiculous. Moving on to Burning Battlefield, which I know for a fact all of the blue walls are fake. Which, this is what Blue Forest Fire, I think, could have been. Oh, sorry, the ones on the borders are real. Like, this is something I would compare Blue Forest Fire to. Just because because all the walls are fake, and there are a lot of deadly obstacles, you're running through. You're focusing more on how to deal with the block sections. I know it's trying to do something different. I know I said I was going to stop bringing up Blue Forest Fire, but it really is an apt comparison for this level. And I know there's a lot, and like, I don't know, Burning Battlefield is pretty awesome. And I use the word awesome a lot. Oh yeah, that's something I can talk about. I've noticed people tend to use the same phrases over and over just while talking, and I know that's something that's normal, but JB says I like it a lot. Oh, well, a lot. I know Rockdet says that's pretty great a lot, and apparently my thing, or one of my things, is awesome. I do try to keep the language a little varied, but it's definitely not easy when it's the low-hanging noun, or not even noun, adjective. What am I saying? Of awesome hanging right there, because it's a not very descriptive adjective, but at the same time, it's a very positive adjective, so it applies in a lot of circumstances that I use it. Anyway, while I was talking about adjectives, Burning Battlefield complete, moving on to Sandstorms in the Underworld. So we'll start by getting this red key. I don't know if that's something I want to do. Looks like it was. And this is going to be a tough level from what I can...
Bummer.
From what I can see. As I immediately pull a mud pie. Okay, so we've got a Paramecia here. We've got 5 blocks here. With the fire boots, I can load one onto the slide. I don't know if the Paramecium needs to be used for anything in particular. Doesn't look like it, actually. Doesn't even look like it can be, if I'm correct. There's going to be stuff hidden under these blocks. Wait. Maybe not? No, it was. Okay. So that bomb needs to go. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I think when JB got to this level in his LP of JoshCCLP4, I think this was 5 still? Yeah, this is still 5. I think JoshCCLP4 runs until 238. I have it in a notepad file that I can reference pretty much any time. So I will do so after this recording, just because I know I'm getting close, so I'm getting into the hard parts of this set. And it's worth noting that the JoshCCL6 portion was updated several times, like during the construction of this set. So it's worth noting that at least for JoshCCL6, the difficulty is going to be all over the place. Because it was originally released at 40 levels, and then it kept getting extended and extended and extended, so I can go back up there whenever I want. Can I come back down? No, I can't, so I'm going to stay down here. That room's empty, that room's empty. While JoshCCL5 at the time was, well, a finished product. And honestly, it still is a finished product. Okay, this section with having to do a certain push only to clear the dirt later, that's pretty cool. I have to admit that's pretty awesome. So Josh likes Paramecia. That's pretty clear. And really? Really, Monster Order? I mean, it was obviously going to clear out in a pretty nice manner. Whoa, that's cool. And that's stable. And I don't need this block for anything? Question mark. Another thing I know Rock says a lot, but it fits there. So yeah, I don't need that block for anything else, so I can just head in here. And while I don't have a red key, I'm not going to want a red key. This reminds me of something Zane made. Because I think Zane made an underground hardcore and replaced a lot of the dirt with red keys. So, my own level way of the paramecium, which I made entirely because, hey, I don't use paramecium enough. And I noticed this because Josh made so many levels with them. So I think those are circling themselves. I can't exactly tell. They are. It's even trickier to tell with up here, but I'm going to take... Okay, so I've got 2 blocks. And I can, in fact, move them into this bomb. So maybe this level is not as difficult as I thought it was. Okay, that recessed wall use is pretty legit. Either it's not as difficult as I thought it was, or I'm just having an easier time solving it than I thought I would. And I don't know which that is. Oh my. This little inward controlling section looks pretty fun. Can I get to it? Maybe? Yes. Whoa, whoa, recessed walls? Not exactly cool. I guess that's why there's both. But I don't think that was strictly necessary. Anyway, Sandstorms in the Underworld is now complete. Moving on to Monochrome Depression. Which is, well, exactly what it looks like. A maze. A very monochrome maze. With a lot of invisible walls. I'm just not going to mess around with this at all. I'm just, like, try to randomly explore. I am just straight following the left wall here. Where I can see there's an end, I will take it. But otherwise, I'm just following the wall, and we'll see how it goes. Should be able to solve it in reasonable time. Surprised I can't get either of those right now. It's a neat maze. Why did I try and go to the exit? But at the same time, it is a little annoying with the invisible walls. Just a little bit. It's nice in that it doesn't have chips always at dead ends. That's something that's not done often enough. I mean, hey, more general maze design stuff. When I designed Air Bubble for Ultimate Chip 5, I made sure to add a teleport to the mix, because that alone can add a lot of confusion. I kept the scope small, so it's a fairly small blue wall maze, for the gimmick of it being a tightly timed blue wall maze. And I threw everything I normally do with blue wall mazes, and mazes in general, out the window. Because the whole point was not, here's a maze that's elegantly done. The whole point was, here's a maze that you are going to get lost in, you are going to make wrong turns, and you are going to feel every mistake. And that's exactly what I did with the blue walls. I had a bunch of one-tile dead ends. I put the chips in just a general pattern that was elegantly placed. But the blue walls, the paths to reach them, were not. In fact, the paths themselves were quite arbitrary. In fact, one entire branch of the maze it led to nothing, which is kind of mean, but that was exactly the point. It's there to fill the space of the overall here's all the walls editor aesthetic, which is a little silly to design something so that it looks nice in the editor. But at least for me, when new stuff is released, I tend to look at it in the editor before doing any play, and I know that can ruin some surprises. As JB mentioned, Rock's maze, which is not a maze at all, by the way, spoilers, from Rock Gamma is a perfect example. Icicle Crash is another maze, by the way. So, just, it's not a maze. And you see that immediately. Likewise, 1412 to when, I think is the name, is another level that does the exact same general idea. It sets itself up like it's one thing, but it's actually something else entirely. And though these levels get a little, like, have their entire purpose kind of subverted by looking in the editor first, I just wanted to get an idea of what was in the levels. Like what was in the set. We're Not Robots is next. It's another maze. There's a lot of those. And, well, yes, I lost both of those surprises from while playing. But at the same time, I think what I ended up gaining was just, okay, so Rock Gamma focuses on some really weird stuff you can do with the game, plays with your expectations. That's cool. So it's like, even though I saw what the tricks were, I saw that there were the tricks, and I could appreciate what was being done with them, even if I personally wouldn't get to experience them from playing. And I do feel like I missed out a little bit, specifically with Maze, because that, as JB mentioned in his CCLP2 video with Checkerboard 1, just it plays with your expectations so well. It sets itself up like a maze. There's the invisible walls to begin with, and then you just start walking around, and you feel so good, so accomplished when you manage to walk through to the exit without running into any more. But there weren't any more to begin with. The maze was all in your head. And that's a pretty cool design. And I know Josh said he was against it being in CCLP4, but JB said he wasn't, and I'm not either. As JB said, and I know this is going to sound like I'm just agreeing with him, but we came to these conclusions individually. I think CCLP4 could use at least one completely out there, just here's your expectations, screw your expectations level. I think Maze is one of the best at doing that, while still having some degree of interest. 1412 to when could arguably be a better choice, but I think the thing about that level is it sets itself up to be a long block pushing level, but that could easily, maybe it's more effective at obscuring its true purpose of being a subverted expectations style level. But at the same time, I think I'd rather see Maze, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing Maze in CCLP4. Yeah, you could see that as it's stealing a slot, but I see it as it's filling a slot that wasn't otherwise filled. Because what other level would you suggest for a completely ridiculous, just, what is this kind of style level? I don't think you'd have any. Do I need this block on the slide? I think I need this block on the slide. Anyway, this is, I played through We're Not Robots. This is Local Market, and I appreciate having the turn here to be able to see the block, and good block slide. So yeah, I'm having fun with these levels. It's interesting to think about what kinds of levels should be in a CCLP. Like, obviously you don't want stuff that's super glitch dependent. You don't want stuff that's brutally difficult to the point where almost nobody will ever solve it. But you also don't want it to be too easy for the veterans. And you don't want it to be too off-putting to the newer players. Even if we assume that the newer players have played CCLP3, then this does kind of fall apart, because CCLP3 is pretty difficult. But at the same time, like, sorry, the walkers kind of distracted me for a sec there. Gonna wait for the two close walkers to go by again. Okay. What was I talking about? Right. What kind of experience you expect players to have. I'm going to get the bold time on this level. Why not? So, if you assume they've only played CCLP1, then you want CCLP4 to... I mean, it's the next one released chronologically, so yeah, it's kind of a weird order to go in 1, 4, 2, 3 or something. But personally, I'd like to see the set be something playable, even if it was completely started with. Yes, the overall curve would be pretty rough, especially because we are kind of expecting the difficulty to ramp up quite quickly. Not as fast as CCLP3 did, but still fairly quickly, just because there's so many tricky levels in the pool that are very well crafted. But at the same time, there's also a lot of easier levels in the pool, and I know that I'm somewhat biased by saying this, but I think a lot of these levels I made just because I did make a lot of easier levels, because I find those more fun to play in general. So that's what I made more of. So a couple teeth here weren't in the monster list, but because of those two steps I didn't get the bold. But that's an exit to remember. I really like that level. So bombs are a beautiful thing. Will probably be the last one of this video. So I don't know. I'm just trying to think here. If I just found out this game had more sets, like if I just came back, like I played this game as a kid, I haven't played it in decades. Well, not literally decades, but over a decade. What would I go for? Would I go for the set labeled 1? Would I go for the set labeled not 1? I want to say I'd go for whatever was released most recently. And if CCLP4 ramped up too quickly, that would be it. Because I was kind of in that position with CCLP3. I did download it and play it shortly after its release, but I didn't hop back into the community because it was so brutally difficult. I couldn't really get very far because I wasn't very good then. And so I don't want anybody to go through that with CCLP4 because there are enough simpler, still very fun, enjoyable levels in the voting pool that it doesn't have to be. But at the same time, you don't want to disappoint the veterans because I know Marcus was very disappointed with CCLP1. He went in expecting something tougher than CCLP3, but that's not what the set tried to be. And I did address that on his blog post on CC Zone, so... Okay, I think what I want to do is go up here, hit the tank button, and then use the recessed wall. So, at least with CCLP4, I don't want it to be excruciatingly difficult. I don't mind if it gets excruciatingly difficult at the very end, but it definitely needs to ease into that better than CCLP3 ever did. I think I'm screwed by putting that block on the wall, actually. Am I? This room's really, really confusing. No, I'm gonna need a block over there, so how do I get a block down there, too? I need to restart and do that.
Bummer.
Okay, odd step, just so that I don't die by doing so. Okay, odd step seems really reliable with that blob. Might just be me, but I'm gonna stick with odd step just because. Anyway, so I don't want people to be turned off from coming back just because CCLP4 didn't ease in right. I know CCLP1 exists, but let's be honest here. We can't expect everybody to want to ease in, and we can't expect everybody to have some prerequisite. Yes, we can like avoid tutorials and such because we can reasonably expect that they've already played the game if they're playing CCLP4 because you do have to go out of your way to get to it. But at the same time, there's a lot of oh wait, no, I can't use the recessed wall. At the same time, though, I question the necessity of some of the or the wisdom of some of the things being suggested. Could I do a tank desync in links? I could do a tank desync in links. Okay, this is what I think I need to do. And then, like, as I said, CCLP3. Oh, wait, this block goes here. Duh. And it's like, so I stopped because CCLP3, and honestly, one of the reasons I left in the first place was CCLP2 wasn't that great. Like, honestly, so CCLP1, I had a ton of fun with. I know my experience is not exactly the typical experience for the set, seeing as I did go through it all at once, but I had a blast doing so. The set was easy enough that I could go through the whole thing in one sitting, even if it took me, 8.5 hours blind to do so? Like, it was still something I'd gladly do again. And how else should I put this? So there weren't that many things that really tripped me up for an extended period of time, but it doesn't mean the set was easy. I had to think for a lot of it. So it's like when Marcus said everything was suited for roughly level 20, I have to say he's a bit. I have to say he's just blatantly wrong. For this section, start with the block directly to the right. Okay. Got a little recessed wall unraveling puzzle, and I think I needed the. Yeah, I needed the block on the bug in that bomb. So I needed one more block out. Okay.
Bummer.
It's like there's some definite issues that could come up that could easily be avoided, and I just don't want CCLP4 to make those mistakes. Even if arguably starting the set off reasonably challenging, I mean, non-trivial, isn't a bad thing, but at the same time, it snubs any like good simple levels made post CCLP1. At the same time, like JB pointed out, that CCLP1 in itself sort of snubbed designers who made primarily difficult levels. And so there's just an impossible balancing act here of trying to balance the simpler stuff with the more difficult stuff with everybody's expectations. Because everybody expects something different of the set. Even on the staff, everybody expects something different from the set. Me? I just want a set of levels that's really high quality and really fun to play. And that's gonna be what it is regardless, but I don't want it to start out I don't want it to start out CCLP3 difficult. I don't really want the set to peak higher than CCLP3 did, but I don't think we need to worry about that. Um, but as I mentioned, Marcus wants CCLP4 to be tougher, but you really can't with the levels in the pool unless you made it entirely out of Thinker's levels. And if I can be completely honest, most of his levels aren't that fun. I think, and I don't feel bad about saying this, I think I gave a recommendation to 4 of them? 3, 4 of them? Not that many. Okay, we need one block up there. Let's go. Recessed wall puzzle. I can't really see the whole thing, but the hint says start with the block directly to the right, so I've only got the 2 recessed walls there. This push has to be made no matter what I do, as far as I can tell. There are 3 blocks in here, and I only need to extract 1. Now, this bomb needs to be blown up, as far as I can tell. Yeah, because this bomb being blown up lets you go doot, and then this one comes around and goes doot. And then you use these 2 recessed walls to take out this bomb. So that means this upper block needs to find a way. This is a pretty tough puzzle. Wait, that recessed wall above me has no purpose currently. Now I know its purpose. You can't spell out all the solutions while I'm figuring them out. It takes too much time to do so. But yeah, like this sort of puzzle is good because it makes you stop, it makes you think, and it can be well reasoned, like it can be reasoned out without too much difficulty. I don't mind tough puzzles. Like I had a blast solving You Can't Teach an Old Frog New Tricks, but there's just not anything tougher. Okay, I want to keep talking, so I'm going to play another level I've already played before. This is no two ways about it. This is functionally pretty similar to a level I made called, what was it called? Temple of Arranging. It's just functionally very similar in that the level revolves around having to upset blocks from a room and then set them back. The gimmick is that those 4 blocks on the center, they're kind of stuck there. You can't move them. You can try, but you can never put them all back, so you can't. And this level apparently stumped a couple people when Josh first released it, even though it was an adapted Sokoban. Because I had the experience with this sort of thing, I was able to figure it out pretty quick. It's this sort of like sideways thinking that I really like about this game. There's a lot of stuff you can do. And I think that's the kind of puzzle I'd like to see in CCLP4 most. Just some sort of lateral thinking to it. Oops, I think I'm screwed. Yeah, I'm screwed. I don't even remember how to do that part. But, like, there's a lot of stuff to think about. Like, this game is inherently very complex. There's something like 60 different game elements that all fit together, and some of them have some can have some really complicated interactions. So, again, You Can't Teach an Old Frog New Tricks takes full advantage of this, and for what it's trying to do, be an exceptionally difficult puzzle, it succeeds admirably. But as a level that's fun to play, it doesn't really. And in its own way, is that not kind of sad? Oh, wait, this is just do the same setup as before. Duh. So, like, that's why I don't want CCLP4 to go tougher than CCLP3. I want it to rise to maybe Vulcan, but probably no higher than Grand Prix. Just because Grand Prix remained fun. Vulcan was where the line started being crossed. I don't want it to be long, because I don't want it to hit color wheel difficulty. Because color wheel, or not difficulty, tediousness, because color wheel was very tedious casually. There's a lot of things that just need to be balanced for CCLP4, and it's going to be tough doing that, ordering the set correctly from the voting results, whatever those end up being, and just trying to meet everybody's impossible expectations of what the set will be. So on that potentially crushing note, I'm going to end the video here, going into level 211, It's Easy Being Green. So thank you for watching, and I'm probably going to continue soapboxing in the next video. Like, JB did it, Josh has done it. I haven't really done it that much. It's interesting talking about completely unrelated level stuff. And for the most part, these levels were simple enough that I could do so. And they were fun. Like, in the end, I think I'll have one closing thought, and I won't soapbox next video, but in the end, Chips Challenge is a game. Are games not meant to be fun? Fun is obtained through various means for various people, but well-designed levels are going to be more fun than poorly designed levels. If you're looking for a puzzle, you'll have more fun with a puzzle than a melee level. If you want a melee level, you'll have more fun with that than a puzzle. Which is why CCLP4, or any set, should have a large variety. But the variety shouldn't come at the cost of quality. And if we need a crazy out there, what the heck is this level? Rocks and Ace is probably a really good pick. I think there should be one level like that in CCLP4. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I've rambled on long enough staring at this screen. I want to get to playing. So I'm going to hit stop recording, then I'm going to hit start recording, then I'm going to pretend that this little tangent never happened while recording the next one. Except I won't, because I'll probably acknowledge it.